What's going on, guys? Welcome back to talk about Transformers. Today we're going to be taking a look at the Netflix Voyager Soundwave figure. This one actually was reworked from the Seige Soundwave figure, which turned into a space shape. And this one actually turns into a tape deck, so from the front it looks pretty okay. And then you start to suffer in the back. But before we get to him, we'll go ahead and talk about just like the Optimus Prime from the Netflix, it costs about $10 more, I think, but it came basically with a pack of 2 Battle Masters, which were $10, so it's just like buying a Voyager with a pack of Battle Masters. It's basically the same price, but in one box. And with Soundwave, you got his little cassette cons, you got Laserbeak, and you got Ravage. And we're going to go ahead and show them off first, so you can go out of the way, Soundwave. And we'll take a look at these guys. Laserbeak is my favorite as far as the transformation and the end result, but the tape is not very tape-like. It's got lots of little circuitry details and things like that, but it does not really look like a tape apart from the square shape of it. But you've got all that red and blue, silver and orange, black paint. Then Ravage actually has kind of like the paint deco going on, and it even has some text here, Japan. And then you've got A side, and then of course this would be B side, but the back is just the robot kibble. So there you have the Ravage tape deck, and we'll go ahead and get these transformed when we go to transform Soundwave. So for now, I like to put Ravage inside of Soundwave because he is the one that looks tapey, and you can press the button, open the tape deck. There's the details inside of there, just molded. And the reason I like to put Ravage in there is because, as you saw when I opened it, he stayed in the door. Laserbeak has a tendency to pop around, and it doesn't matter which way you put it in there. If you've got the front facing forward and you've got the wingtips down here, it does it. If you've got the front facing forward and you've got the wingtips, if I can get them in there all the way, up here, it does still bounce out. So I store him somewhere else. So we'll go ahead and store this in here, and then you can take the other tape, and they each have one of these. This is another reason I store him outside. That was pretty easy to get down. Ravage's is not. And you could store it on top, just like you had a tape sitting on top of the device, just, you know, that you weren't playing. Or you could store it in the back in one of these 2 holes back here, like this. And that gun does not want to stay. And this is the back of the mode. You've just got his guns hanging out back here. Of course, you don't have to have them on here. You could take them off and throw them in a bin. But I actually like to store it where this is the other way around, and it's plugged in right here. So that way it doesn't go anywhere. And then I'll put the other one on this side. And I'll take Laserbeak and I'll put him on this side. And it's going back farther, but it's flush, and it's all going to stay together. And from the front, it still looks good. Speaking of which, we'll take a look at the front. You've got right, left, some details here with the lines. You got the gold paint here with the yellow around it, and a little bit in the middle here. That's painted on the plastic. You got your fast forward, rewind, play. You've got record and stop. And then some details down here. Looking at the bottom, you can see just Soundwave's thighs and things like that. And then from the side, you've got the details for the robot mode legs just sitting there. And then just horrible. This is pretty bad, but it was a rework, and you'll see some of that coming through. But that's about it as far as tape deck mode goes. So we'll get into our size comparisons, and then we'll get into our transformation. Alrighty, there you have them with the Rubik's Cube, with the Gormagala statue. There he is with Volkswagen Bumblebee. There you have him with last week's review Snapdragon. and I'm not going to do a comparison with the dinosaur mode, just the plane mode. And finally, for a vehicle mode comparison, here he is with Starscream, one of the big 4 Deceptive baddies, along with Shockwave and Megatron, and they're what's going to be coming next down the pipeline for the Voyager / Leader reviews that take place usually on Fridays. Alrighty, starting off Soundwave's transformation, I'm just going to take all these accessories on the back off and put them off to the side, and Ravage can stay because he's not going to get in the way. We're going to pop this up. It's connected. There's 2 blue tabs here that'll go into these slots, and I found mine didn't like to stay at first. I literally had to take it and push it and hold it for a good little bit until it actually stayed. And now that I've loosened it or whatever to the point where it's going to stay, I don't have to put as much time or effort into it, and it'll stay there. So if yours isn't staying, just push it on and hold it for a little bit to get that stuff there. But we're going to fold these gray tabs under. They'll just sit in there nice, and put the legs down. We're going to detach here. You've got a big old tab in this gray slot. So we're going to move his legs down. Same thing on the other side. Tab and the slot is blue. We're going to rotate it so that way the back of the legs are towards us, because this is his booty plate. And then like this, it was on this figure first, but like Cyclonus, we're going to go ahead and fold the leg flap out, fold the foot out, put the cover away, and then fold it shut. So you swap the cover with the foot basically. And while that was on the original Soundwave mold in this one, they used it again in Cyclonus, and it's just a great way to transform your legs. So there you've got his legs done. We're going to go ahead and move on to his arms. Split them down here, rotate them out, and then we're going to... I wanted to say plague. I stopped myself. We're going to plug... Now I'm saying it again. We're going to plug this tab into the port where the legs were tabbed in the tape deck mode. Straighten his elbows out. We'll fold his hands out back here. And then rotate his arms forward. These things can still move, but they were like landing gear on the original Soundwave mold. And they don't really move for this transformation. They're just kind of leftovers. They honestly could have just taken them out and maybe molded just something else to go in there. And then we'll go ahead and open this up, and we'll fold out his head, and we'll close it back up. And there you have, oh nope, one last step. Go ahead and rotate the waist around, and there you have the Soundwave from Netflix, aka Earthrise Soundwave basically, because he is Earth mode Soundwave. And we'll go ahead and put him off to the side. Well, first of all, let's run through his gun accessories and get them on him. For this one, as you saw multiple times, you can extend this out to become a concussion blaster, and we'll go ahead and put it in his hand. And then this one doesn't really extend out, but you can pull the handle out a bit so you can get an angle on it and put it up on his shoulder. And there you have that. We'll set him off to the side, talk about his other 2 accessories. We'll do Ravage first, because like I said, I'm not as big of a fan of it. What I like to do first with Ravage is fold out these front legs here to get them out of the way, and then I will angle the back legs down just one click, then rotate the structure around that they're sitting on until it clicks into place. You'll see it click. See how it's angled down? It'll actually click into place, and now it's angled up slightly. We're going to finish rotating the leg up, rotate the whole leg around, and then rotate his little paws down. And one of these likes to fall off, so it's probably going to happen during the review at some point. If not now, it'll be later. And then this is where the peg will fold out for Ravage. And in tape deck mode, there's stuff holding the head in place, and it's just harder to get out because it'll click in 2 stages. So there's just, there's tension there and there's friction, and unless you got a decent fingernail like I do today, it's hard to get out. But luckily his head rotates out easy. Fold his front shoulders, legs down at the shoulder, and to get his feet sorted out, this one decided it was going to fold back up, which I did not tell it to do. Then we'll go ahead and get his legs straightened out, and there you have little Ravage in his beast animal mode. You've got the Decepticon logo on the side and some tape deco stuff on the back leg. He just kind of flat in all directions. It doesn't look terrible up until you get to the head and the neck. The neck I can kind of forgive, but I wish the tab was black. I don't see why they had to make it gray. And the head sculpt is not the greatest. I don't know what's going on with his mouth. It looks like it's supposed to be open a little bit, but then it's filled in with this chunk that doesn't look like teeth or anything else. So at that point, you might as well have just molded the head closed. And his head is so low on his neck, he just looks like he doesn't have a head or a neck. He's just got a really long head that attaches right to the body because it's not clear where the head and the neck are separated. But there you have Ravage. Laserbeak's a little simpler. For Laserbeak, we're just going to fold down his feet, open up his wings. We're going to flip out his head, and we're going to fold up his booster, and then just to give him that Laserbeak look, we'll fold his head back up a little bit, and there you have Laserbeak. He's done. And that's why I like him better, because he looks a little better, kind of like the G1 wing shape for the G1 tape, but they actually managed to fit a little booster pack on him into the transformation. He's got the Decepticon logo there on his head. It's very, very tiny, but nicely sculpted and painted in there. His underside is just no paint, just creepily details, and his feet are there. And he can't tab on the Soundwave with his feet, but if you fold them up and fold this plug back out, so that one moves in 2 stages too. It just, for some reason, it's easier to do. I don't know if it's because it's pegged into a solid body piece, and Ravage has his pegged into the back of his neck, but you can go ahead and use that to pop him into ports. So Soundwave can have Laserbeak on his shoulder like that, and then Ravage just kind of stands around. We'll go ahead and show off his articulation, and then we'll get him set up for some comparison shots into a nice cool pose. And again, with a Soundwave, he's going to be facing this way, and so is everyone else. So as far as articulation goes, his head is on a ball joint, and it will go all the way around, and it actually has a decent amount of up, but it's a little loose, so it's wanting to droop. Then you've got the down. You've got some tilting side to side. With that, you've got a 360 at the shoulder. Moves up 90 degrees. 360 at the bicep. Elbow is double jointed. We'll get your gun out of here real quick, actually. Elbow is double jointed, so you can get the full range there, but the wrist only has a inward, outward, due to the transformation type joint. So that's it for his arms. The waist, due to transformation, will spin, bumped my camera, 360. Legs will go up to the side all the way. They will go back. Just move the butt flap back. They will go back, and then he's got 2 flaps in the front here. That'll go forward. He's got the thigh swivel. That'll go full 360. Knee bend is about 90 degrees. of bend there at the knee, and then the ankles will tilt a bit. Going ahead, now that we've got them down here, we'll go ahead and take a look at the details again. Just a bunch of nice molded details here, and they've got sections picked out in silver and some nice yellowy gold. The feet are just gray. My knees are a little loose on this figure. He's got just molded details on the gray thighs. He's got the faux buttons painted here on his waist plate. You can see through the chest now. Same details that were on the tape deck. Coming up the side, they added these panels on because they were kibble panels on the original, and I wish, since these were all new panels, they could have molded these to sit different, because in tape deck mode, one of the reasons I don't like to store the guns there is because I want them to be facing a direction that this gravity is helping keep this in, so it's facing down. And if you have them in those holes, they're facing this way, and sure, when you have them set on a table, it's going to be kept in by the pressure of it sitting on a table, but if you go to pick it up, it's more often than not, it'll just fall out like that. So since they made a whole new piece, I don't know why they couldn't have done a better job with that. There is his back. He's got, again, lots of molded stuff, but not a whole lot painted other than the paint that's on this butt flap. Just, you know, lines and all this and that, a little bit of hollow spaces the back of his thighs. And then you've got these weird leftover landing gear on his arms. Like I said, they could have done something else with those. And then the inside of the arms are very hollow because of the hand folding out. And then he's got the red light piping in the head, and it does not look like it's painted over, but I don't really have a secondary light source to show that off too well. And he's got some silver for the side vents and the mouth plate, and that's about it for Soundwave. We'll go ahead and get him posed up. One thing you can do, if you bend the arm just right, which I am not doing a good job of, he can actually press the button. They molded the finger in his left hand so that it was out, and he's not going straight down on it, but he can press the button. We'll give him his gun and give him his laser beak, and we'll have him posed like so. We'll go ahead and push the button. There, he pushed his own button, and we'll get Ravage up in here. What I like to do, oops, I told you the leg was gonna pop off. That was an eventuality. Is I'll put him coming out of his chest, so I'll get one leg back there behind the door, and then use the mechanism slot for when the door opens and closes to sneak the other leg back there, and then I will have Ravage sitting on his chest, laser beak on his arm, and we're going to change the way that's rotated so that way we can do this. Laser beak on his arm with his concussion blaster, and that is how I like my Soundwave to look. So we're going to go ahead and zoom out a taste so we can get them all in the shot, and we'll go ahead and get into some size comparisons and then take a look at the final thoughts. Alrighty, and there you have them again with the Rubik's Cube, with your Gormagala statue, with Bumblebee movie Bumblebee, with Voyager class Snapdragon, with the Earthrise Seeker mold, and last but not least, there you have them with the MP44 mold. Alrighty, and that's basically it for your Voyager class Earthrise, basically Soundwave. I mean, I like the tape decks, good enough. Ravage is a little weird and his leg likes to pop off, but that's okay. The robot mode looks good. The tape thing functions. Like I said before, though, the back of that alt mode is rough. and there are some things that I wish they changed, but I mean, I figured out a way to store them that I like. That's not too bad, so it worked out in the end. Go ahead and look this guy up if you're interested, but I know that he was one of the figures that was being scalped pretty good, so hopefully you can find him at a decent price. I am going to go ahead and give him a recommend. I lost my train of thought. I do not have the original Seige Soundwave, but I do have the black one, Sound Blaster. Is that his name? I'm sure someone comment the black one's name. Sound Blaster is what's coming to mind, but it could be something else. But I have the black one that can hold 2 tapes. So when I review him, probably after the Seige Megatron, I'll go ahead and show both these guys inside that he can fit 2 tapes at once, but I'll be using these same tapes. So when I review him, I'm not going to actually go over the tapes again. But other than that, I'll, just pretty much sign off here. Go ahead and like the video. If you indeed liked it, go ahead and subscribe to my channel and ring the notification bell so you know when I've got new stuff up. Check out my playlist linked in the description below. Follow me on social media, Twitter and Instagram, linked in the description below. I try to have a post on those about a day or so before my videos come up. And I think that's about it. So until then, guys, I'll see you.